Good afternoon. I am going to call this meeting of the Committee of the Whole for Wednesday, February 7th to order. My name is Andrea Jenkins, and I am the chair of this committee. And with me at the dais are council members Palmisano, Ellison, Warsame, Goodman, Johnson, Schroeder, Council President Bender, Councilmember Cunningham, Fletcher, Reich, and Cano. Let the record reflect that we do have a quorum. We have one discussion item on our agenda today, as well as 10 committee reports. And our discussion item concerns ordinances and resolutions introduced but undisposed during the previous term of the City Council, held from 2014 through 2017. And here to present is our clerk, Casey Carl. Mr. Carl, thank you very much.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair, members of the committee. As stated, I'm here to present the list of ordinances and resolutions from the 2014-17 term, which remained undisposed at the end of last year. Under Council Rules 9.9, the clerk is charged with bringing forward this list at the beginning of each new four-year term so that those matters undisposed by the end of the previous term can be expired. The automatic expiration helps to ensure the policy process is uncluttered by a myriad of matters which may no longer be timely, relevant, or serving a purpose. And of course, any of those matters on the list can be claimed by any currently serving council member and reintroduced during the current elective term. This also helps the clerk's office ensure that our files and numbering processes align with the four-year term and that referrals are made to the correct standing committees, which can and do change between terms, and also ensures we have a council member who is an author who is also a member of the current body. I have distributed at the dais an updated list that shows those matters which have been claimed by a council member for reintroduction as of noon today. This list shows the new primary author and the committee of reference. If there are no further items to be claimed and reintroduced, then staff would respectfully request the committee submit its affirmative recommendation to the full council that all the remaining items be expired and that the clerk be directed to create new files, identify the new primary authors, and re-refer all claimed matters to the proper standing committees for action in this current four-year term. And with that, Madam Chair, I'm happy to stand for questions.
Thank you, Mr. Carl. Are there any questions? Oh, Councilmember Goodman, thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Item number 36 is an issue I've been working on for a year, and it's already at staff. So this is the advance notice ordinance that Councilmember Goodman and I have been working on. I'm a little perplexed why that would have to be re-referred since we're already working on it, but I guess I'll note that we want to continue to work on it.
Thank you, Councilmember Goodman. So noted. And Councilmember Palmisano.
Thank you, Madam Chair. In conversation with colleagues and with our audit department, I would like to take number 28 that was about the ordinance that governs our audit function here at the city and reintroduce it and refer it to the Enterprise Committee.
Thank you, Councilmember Palmisano. Council President Bender, did you have a comment?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I have two changes as well. The first is that I'd like to add Councilmember Schroeder as a co-author on item 33. And then I've noticed that I should have also claimed item 45, which looks to be related to item 44, which I've picked up from then Councilmember, now Mayor Fry. So I'd like to continue the work of number 45 and make myself the author of that.
I'm sorry, Council President, 44 and 45, or?
The motion in front of us has me as the new author of 44, reintroduced by Bender, but I'd like to add 45 as well. It looks to be a related ordinance change.
Very good. Thank you very much. Have you been able to capture those, Ms. Clerk?
I did, Madam Chair.
So with that, I move to accept the staff's recommendation to renew the highlighted ordinances and resolutions and refer them to their proper committees. Oh, there are two more? Oh, I'm sorry. My apologies, Councilmember Cano, please.
It's okay, thank you, Council Vice President Glidden. I just wanted to give a heads up to my colleagues about the three items that I will keep moving along in this process. And thank you so much to the clerk's office for helping us tee this up. Really, your kind attention and consideration of this transition moment for the city council has been extremely important to make sure that everything's running smoothly. So number 32 is related to the separation ordinance that the City of Minneapolis currently has, that we decided to open up, to strengthen it, to clean it up, to actualize it to today's new environment, given the federal and state level type of engagement that we're seeing around immigrant communities and other issues relating to refugees and immigrants. And then I believe there's another one on this page. Here we go, number 39. I'm working on that with our Regulatory Services Department, and we'll be meeting with some breweries to discuss the intent and direction of that ordinance. So it's very much in the beginning stages, and I plan to brief you all fully once those conversations have been had at the staff level with some of the folks who want to see those changes on the ground. And then 41 is the municipal ID program, which is also at the beginning stage. We had to push back the initial meeting on this ordinance internally because of the Super Bowl, but now that we've gotten to the other side of that project, I did want to let you know that on the 23rd of this month, we will be meeting about this issue, and if you want to be invited, either to have your staff present or you yourself come, please let me know, because we're going to begin to review the work plan, the budgetary resources, and the general strategy. So I just wanted to kind of give everyone a heads up about those three items. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Cano. Councilmember Goodman.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just want to note that the advance notice item would go to the Housing Policy Committee,
Okay.
just because that's where that belongs. And then I just wanted to ask Mr. Carl, Madam Chair, often chairs of committees get their names on ordinance introductions, not because it's work they're working on, but because it's work the department is interested in. Two of these have my name on them, and I don't know what they are. So has there been outreach to departments and that they've cleared that those items were either not needed or weren't moving forward?
Madam Chair, to the council member's question, yes, this list was shared with all departments. I've not heard back from any. I'm assuming that if they wish to have something continued forward, they would notify my office or yours if you are the named sponsor in order to keep it going. I have not received any such notice.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And with that, I would move that we accept the staff's recommendation to renew the highlighted ordinances as well as the reintroduced ordinances on the floor. And we now have one other comment from Councilmember Gordon.
Thank you. I guess I have a small question about the short-term rentals regulations. I thought perhaps that passed, perhaps these were all ordinance introductions for that never got amended or anything got added because we simply added a whole new section. So I'll just point that out and people can dig into it if they want to.
Can you state the number?
Yes, of
Gordon?
course. I'm sorry about that. Number 37. Adding provisions related to the regulation of short-term rentals in Title 20, various chapters. And also, there's Councilmember Fry introduced 100% renewable energy resolution last year, and I'm working on bringing up another version of that. We don't have to carry it over necessarily at all, so I know that it's listed, but I just thought I'd point that out so people aren't shocked when a new resolution that looks similar to one we tabled comes up. Because that's another option we could do with any of these if we dig into it later, just do a whole new introduction and we can bring something back too. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Gordon. And so before I move again, I am going to ask if there I move again, I am going to ask if there are any more comments or reintroductions or clarifications from the body. Seeing none, I will move that we accept the staff's recommendation to renew the highlighted and added ordinances and resolutions and refer them to their proper communities. And also that we direct staff to expire all of the remaining ordinances and resolutions that were introduced but undisposed during the 2014 through 2017 term of the City Council. Any comments? Any comments? The motion before us, all in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed? That motion carries.
Thank you.
All right. So our first report is from the Economic Development and Regulatory Service Committee chaired by Council Member Goodman.
Thank you, Madam Vice President. The Economic Development and Regulatory Services Committee has 5 items we're bringing forward for approval on Friday. Item 1 is a new license, an application for changes in the license at New Bohemia Wurst Bar and Beer House. Item 2 is a new business license for Sushi Train at 1200 Nicollet Mall. Item 3 are all of the regular liquor business gambling licenses for this cycle. Item 4 is adopting a resolution accepting the annual report for the McPhail School of Music. And item number 5 is awarding funding for Great Streets facade improvement funds for Field Regina Northrop Neighborhood, the Lake Street Council, Northeast Chamber of Commerce, Seward Redesign, Southwest Business Association, Standish Erickson Neighborhood Association, and the West Bank Business Association. I'm happy to stand for questions on any of the items on our agenda for Friday.
Thank you for that report. Is there any questions? Thank you. Our next report is the Elections and Rules Committee. That committee is chaired by Councilmember Ellison.
Thank you, Vice President Jenkins. The Elections and Rules Committee will be bringing forward one item for consideration at Friday's City Council meeting. That item is the passage of resolution adopting the 2018 revision as the definitive Minneapolis City Council Rules of Order. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you for that report, Councilmember Ellison. Are there any questions? Our next report is then from the Enterprise Committee chaired by Councilmember Palmisano.
Thank you, Madam Chair. We had our first meeting of the Enterprise Committee this past week, and among it, we had a great conversation around all of the different things that are happening in the City Coordinator's office. The one item that we're bringing to Friday is to approve a contract amendment with Viterion, which is an IT third-year optional service contract for your approval. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you for that report, Councilmember Palmisano. Are there any questions? Our next committee report is the Health, Environment, Civil Rights, and Engagement Committee chaired by Councilmember Cunningham.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The Health, Environment, Civil Rights, and Engagement Committee will be bringing forward 2 items for consideration at Friday's City Council meeting. The first is a grant from the Public Health Institute to address health and climate change in Minneapolis. And the second is Minnesota Department of Health grant for Minneapolis youth and teen sexual health. We will be accepting a grant for $156,000 to decrease the risk factors and increase the protective factors associated with Minneapolis youth and teen sexual health. We also got a presentation from Barb Kyle, who is the manager for the school-based clinics. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Councilmember Cunningham. Are there any questions? With that, our next report is from the Housing Policy and Development Committee chaired by Councilmember Gordon.
The Health Policy and Development Committee is bringing forward 2 items for consideration on Friday. One is a modification to our action related to contract terms for Ellie Mae for loan administration of software services. And the second is approving an award of our affordable housing trust funds for the New Vision Housing Project at 2101 South 5th Street.
Thank you, Councilmember Gordon. Are there any questions? Our next report then is from the Transportation and Public Works Committee, chaired by Councilmember Wright.
Thank you, Madam Vice President. The committee forwarded 6 items. Item 1 is an appointment to the BAC. Item 2 is the 2018 Street Resurfacing Program, designation of areas and cost estimates. Item 3 is request for proposals for Litter Be Gone event services. Item 4 is the contract amendment with Cohen Partners for historic preservation work at the PD Plaza. And item 5 and 6 are bids for work of the department. I'll stand for questions.
Thank you, Council Member. And are there any questions? Our next report then is from the Ways and Means Committee, chaired by Councilmember Warsame.
Thank you, Madam Vice President. We have 9 items. The Ways and Means Committee has 9 items to bring to the attention of the Council. The first item is a legal settlement claim by the City of Minneapolis against Alliance Steel for damage to fire department equipment. Second item is a legal settlement citation from the Minnesota Department of Labor and Industry, Occupational Safety and Health Division. The third item is a legal settlements claims of James Breen, John Gable, Donald Switzer, and Raymond Tomlinson. The fourth item is a legal settlement claim of Harold Collier. The fifth item is a grant from the Minneapolis Downtown Improvement District to fund Downtown 100 and Focus. The sixth item is an appropriation resolution amendment for the acceptance of the prosecutorial services to crime victim grants for 2018 to 19. And the seventh item is a contract amendment with Versacon Inc. for contract closeout on the Convention Center West Entrance Landscape Project. The eighth item is a contract amendment with Deloitte Consulting LLP for benefits consulting and actuarial services. And our final item is appointed positions in the Health Department Deputy Commissioner of Health. And I will be happy to stand for any questions.
Thank you for that report, Councilmember Warsame. Are there any questions? Seeing none, we will hear from the Zoning and Planning Committee, chaired by Councilmember Schroeder.
Thank you, Madam President. The Zoning and Planning Committee will be bringing forward 3 items this Friday. The first is a rezoning request put forward by Dan Olpenpriller for the address at 2407 2nd Street Northeast. The second item is rezoning for an A&M Market at 2501 Lindale Avenue South. And the final will be for rezonings and street vacation put forward by the Landon Group at 2212, 2316, and 2320 Jefferson Street Northeast. I'll stand for any questions.
Thank you for that report, Councilmember Schroeder. Are there any questions? Our last committee report is the Executive Committee, and it's chaired by the Mayor, but we're going to receive the report from Council President Bender.
Thank you, Thank you, Madam Chair. We just have one item from Executive Committee, which was approving an appointment for a position in the Neighborhood and Community Relations Department, which is Director of Office and Immigrant and Refugee Affairs. That was approved in the budget last term.
Thank you, Council Vice President Bender. And I inadvertently skipped over the Audit Committee report, chaired by Councilmember Palmisano.
Madam Chair, no problem. Actually, I thought it was because there aren't any actions to be taken Friday because of the Audit Committee, but we did have our first Audit Committee meeting of the year, so if I might just really give a brief overview. We did an update of our body-worn camera audit issues and update, and that will come to the next public safety meeting on February 15th, so I'm looking forward to some of that. We received a wrap-up of last year's internal audit annual report. We heard and filed a one-neck IT solutions review of our data system. There was a report of our license plate reader program that was done by a peer group, which was Hennepin County, did that audit for us. We also received and filed an off-street parking operator audit that was a long time in coming. We reviewed the annual audit plan, which I'm happy to review with anybody that might be interested, and received the regular update report. So, thanks.
Thank you, Councilmember Palmisano. Thank you, everyone, and that completes our agenda. I do want to note that this Friday I will be bringing forth a resolution honoring Black History Month and the Black Employees Network's 1-year anniversary at the City of Minneapolis. And seeing that there is no further business to be presented at this time, we are adjourned.